Hey wrestling fans, it's JC here with Wax Poetic Pro Wrestling. It's been a while since I've done a video here on the channel, so um, it's actually WrestleMania week this week, so I'm sure everybody's excited. It's WrestleMania week, so there's tons of wrestling. The biggest week of the year for pro wrestling fans and the industry alike. So I'm going to do a little preview prediction show here, and I apologize. I usually do these videos on my laptop, but today I will be doing it on my phone. For some reason, the camera on my laptop's not working, so don't really know what's going on with that. But we're going to do a preview prediction show, and we're going to see how I do here this weekend with my predictions and my preview and analysis here. So. Just to preface this whole thing, obviously we are in a current time of unprecedented business for WWE, and frankly, just for the pro wrestling industry, altogether. Say what you will about AEW, but the fact that a number two is doing even 3,000 twice a week is pretty impressive, and then 100,000 on pay-per-view, and even more attending pay-per-views, and all in will be a huge thing. So AEW is going to take a little bit of time. Obviously, that was a tough week for them as far as PR goes, with the whole CM Punk thing coming out. But next week I'm gonna do an in-depth AEW State of the Union video, just talking about where they're at, what they need to do moving forward, and that kind of thing. So, but anyways, so getting on to WrestleMania 40, the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania from Philadelphia, from Lincoln Financial Field. Two big nights. Obviously, tonight we have SmackDown, and we also have the Hall of Fame. And then tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, we have the NXT show. And then obviously night one is Saturday and night two is on Sunday. So we are going to start with night one. And what I perceive to be the opening contest of night one, which to me looks like it will end up being Rhea Ripley defending the WWE Raw Women's Championship against the man Becky Lynch. To me, this is a marquee matchup that they've, built up, and to me, it makes more sense at this point for Rhea to go over Becky here, because putting my Booker hat on, as you would call it, WWE and pro wrestling in general is about big matches, long-term storytelling, and working backwards from where you want to go in the future. So with that in mind, I believe that Rhea will retain, and what will end up happening is Bianca Belair will end up being drafted to the Raw brand, and that's going to lead to a year-long build for a first-time ever match, which would be the two juggernauts and franchises of WWE at this current time, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. So in order for that to happen, I think, and for what I perceive would be, as a couple people have said, it's title versus streak, because Bianca has not actually lost yet at WrestleMania. So you give Rhea a 2-year reign, and Bianca wins the belt next year, but you build that up all the way through the year. So with that in mind, I believe Rhea will retain, and I think Becky might end up going to SmackDown and trying to win the title there. And then, like I said, long-term story building, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair is the money match for next year's WrestleMania. There's just no doubt about that, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions. So makes sense. So the next match we would have, or I would view as maybe the next match on the card, would be the ladder match for the WWE Unified Tag or Undisputed Tag Team Championships. The Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, versus DIY, Gargano and Ciampa versus Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller versus the New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. So there's been some chatter that this is maybe the moment that they would split the belts maybe somehow here. Not exactly sure if they will do that or they won't do that. But my prediction is DIY gets the win here and wins the tag titles, and this sets them up to have a lengthy run on the main roster as tag team champions, just as they did in NXT. They had a lot of great matches and whatnot, and obviously that would build into an eventual feud between them down the road, just like in NXT. But, you know, Triple H is a big fan of DIY, and I feel as if that's the next phase, because Damian Priest obviously can't be in the tag division forever. He's got the money in the bank, so they're going to have to do something with that. Maybe they do something with that on this weekend, you know, possibly on night 2. So who knows? But let's just say they do split those titles. I like DIY to take one. And, you know, if it was up to me, I'd be New Catch Republic, you know. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate win the other two. Both of those tag teams would be great representatives for any brands going into the future. So I think there might be an outside chance that maybe The Miz and R-Truth get a piece of the tag belts in this scenario as well. Just because of the storyline between Damian Priest and R-Truth. But I believe if you were just going to take one team and give them both belts, in my opinion, it's got to be DIY. They got to keep building the momentum for DIY that they've been building the last couple of months here. Because back in the day, obviously, Vince didn't know what the fuck to do with DIY. Triple H obviously knows what to do with DIY. And that's the thing with this whole thing right now, this current WWE golden era. The two main things on this is WWE's global reach and their professionalism and their execution and the length of time they've been around. And then the other thing is getting Vince out of the head booking position and putting Triple H in there. It's just they're running on all cylinders at this point, and they've got good booking, they've got good foresight, and obviously the machine that they are is going to make, you know, everything run smoother. All the, you know, angles come off executed very well. That's obviously one of the things that I believe AEW is lacking, is just execution of angles and execution of storylines is one of the things that I think they need a lot of improvement on. And a lot of that comes with time, and I believe that Triple H has been sitting under the learning tree for a while, and he has enough new ideas. He also recognizes the things that the new blood, like Tony Khan and stuff, are doing right. And he's kind of like Vince did back in the 90s. He was taking the best bits from ECW and the best bits from WCW and then filtering that through the WWE, you know, model or product. And, you know, that's how the Attitude Era was born. So I believe Triple H is doing the same thing right now, is he's, you know, taking what the industry as a whole has learned from the existence of AEW and, you know, the reemergence, the emergence of the indie scene and that kind of thing. And he's trying to tailor make this product to kind of appeal to everybody. But at the same time, the execution is just on another level. So sorry about that rant. But anyways, so the next one I would have on this list would be Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. This might be a match that might be a year too late, but still going to be a great match, I believe. This is a really tough one to predict, but what I think is going to happen in the main event is going to inform my decision on this one. In that case, I believe that Jey Uso will beat Jimmy Uso, but the Bloodline will have something to say before the end of the night But I'm picking Jey Uso in this match. But depending on what does happen in the main event, I could also see maybe Jimmy getting a surprise win here, because he's kind of been a little bit of a, Roman's lapdog here for a year. He hasn't really got much push. Jay's obviously the breakout star of the brothers. Jimmy really hasn't got much of a rub at this point. He's been more kind of relegated to the background. So we'll see what happens. But, Jay's got the momentum. He kind of deserves it for the year he's had. So moving on, the next match I have on my list here would be Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi, who I affectionately refer to as Team Thump. Kind of like a JYD reference. But I think this is going to be a fun match, and I believe Bianca, Jade, and Naomi are going to win Jade's debut at WrestleMania. They should mask any of her deficiencies, and she should look spectacular in this match. So I believe that'll be a feel-good moment, those three winning that six-man tag match. And I am of the opinion, like I said, that Bianca will be moving on from the SmackDown brand. So Jade's ascension after WrestleMania, I believe, will continue on SmackDown. She will not move to Raw here in the next few months if there is a draft. I think she will build herself up through the SmackDown brand. And like I said, Bayley or Io are champions. I'm assuming personally it's going to be Bayley, but you're going to have Bayley, and you're going to have maybe Becky Lynch over there, a few people for her to work with, on her ascension. So the next match I have on my list here would be Latino World Order, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. This is kind of like the Lucha Libre pocket of the show, I guess you would call it. And it should be an entertaining match. I believe because Rey did win last year against Dom one-on-one, that it would make more sense this year to give Santos and Dirty Dom the win here, to maybe extend this long-term storyline a little further. I believe this would be, I believe there's another Rey and Dominic match in the future at some point, or maybe even two. This would continue that storyline. It would also, push Santos as a bigger star, and obviously give Dom a rub as well, and give him some type of, reward for the last year. He's worked a lot of dates in the last year. He works every show pretty much. Obviously everybody boos him, but the guy who does, I give him credit, he does work hard. I believe that they will get the win there. The next match I have would be Intercontinental title Gunther with his record reign versus everyone's favorite Sami Zayn. I'm making no bones about it. I hope Sami wins this match. I think he's the perfect person to dethrone Gunther, and it should propel him maybe into the future, to maybe get into the world title picture in the future himself. Also, there's the other factor of Gunther's eventually got to lose the Intercontinental title if he's ever going to start on the road towards trying to win the world title, which I believe Gunther will be in the world title match next WrestleMania. If it was me and I was booking backwards, I'd be booking Cody Rhodes versus Gunther next year. That'd be my main event next year. So if that's any indication, obviously Gunther's got to lose it sooner than later. I think he's done everything he can do with that title. The only factor I see here is maybe Chad Gable getting involved and somehow costing Sami the match, whether directly or indirectly or on purpose or not on purpose, which maybe could lead to a triple threat. possibly between the three of them, where maybe Gunther doesn't take a pin, Sammy or Chad Gable pin each other, so maybe it would protect Gunther in a way. Not really sure, but just initially, man, a feel-good moment like Sami Zayn overcoming all the odds and the monster that is Gunther would be just phenomenal. And obviously, to me, that's a match that probably steals the show night one, in my opinion. So that's how I would feel about that one. And so last match, obviously, the big tag match, the Bloodline of The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. If the Bloodline wins, then it becomes Bloodline Rules tomorrow, or I should say Sunday for that match. Should be a phenomenally entertaining match. I believe that the Bloodline is going to win because they want to stack the odds against Cody as much as possible on Sunday. But what I believe is going to happen is this is where we're going to see Tama Tonga debut. He's signed to WWE. They haven't done anything with him yet. And there's been rumblings he will be involved in this Bloodline storyline. So what a perfect moment for Tama Tonga to debut, to come in and help The Rock and Roman Reigns win this tag team match. And I believe they will, no matter what, even if Tama Tonga isn't involved. I think that's what's going to happen. So obviously stacking the deck against Cody Rhodes going into night 2. And I believe if they have a plan to ever do The Rock versus Cody Rhodes, then Cody Rhodes would need to take the pin here against The Rock. But I think it will be by crook. So, I mean, like I said, he will be protected even if he does get beat here, I believe. So, that's how I see night 1 going. So, night 2, the first match on the list, we have Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that, I mean, it just makes the much sense because Drew is firing on all cylinders as far as his presentation, his promos, his in-ring, his, a presence on social media. The guy's just firing on all cylinders. I believe it makes sense to put the belt on Drew McIntyre, so I think Drew McIntyre will win this match. But there is a big, big, big possibility that maybe this is the spot where Damian Priest would cash in the Money in the Bank, maybe in this situation, on Drew McIntyre. They do have a little bit of tension between those two guys. So maybe they, like I said, Damian comes in, wins the belt, maybe takes it off of Drew after a hard-fought match. And maybe that turns either Drew or Damian into a babyface moving forward. But bottom line, I think Drew's walking out with the belt. They have to put the belt on him just because his contract is coming up here, and they do want to keep him. And frankly, the guy deserves it. He's been the unsung hero of WWE for the last few months, for basically, frankly, for the whole year. I mean, if you're going to, who's the most consistent performer on the mic, in the ring over the last 3 months, it's Drew McIntyre. So I believe he does deserve it. So next match would be The Pride, Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, the Street Profits, with B-Fab versus Final Testament, Karrion Kross, the Authors of Pain, with Scarlett and Paul Ellering in a Philadelphia street fight match. Should be a wild match, should be entertaining. This is a tough one to pick, I believe. It's going to tell us a lot on what they're going to do maybe going forward. I think that the Final Testament maybe needs the win more than the Pride does. Lashley and the Profits do. So based on that, if they're going to look to push Karrion Kross into a position to maybe challenge Cody Rhodes for the title in the future, or challenge someone in the future, they got to build up the Final Testament. And like someone very smart once said, when you got these scary factions, if you're not, if spooky factions, I should say, scary spooky factions, if you're not pushing them into like the top main event heel as the top main event heel group, it's hard for it to get over. Obviously they did it with, the Undertaker's group, and then the Wyatt family. Those were top groups, and that's why it works. So I don't know if the Final Testament is going to work unless they're willing to push the Final Testament as being at least the best faction on whatever brand that they're on. So if it was me, like I said, it's a tough one, but honestly, Final Testament to me would make the most sense booking wise. So moving forward, we have a big grudge match, LA Knight, AJ Styles. Low key, they actually did a pretty good build with this match. A lot of the backstage stuff and the vignettes and stuff have been pretty stellar. LA Knight's had a lot of momentum in the last year, and I feel like he's cooling down right now a little bit. I would not be surprised if he won the match, but in my opinion, I think AJ Styles is going to win this match. Should be a great match, but I feel like AJ Styles is going to win this match simply because I believe that AJ Styles is in line for a world title feud, and if they do put the belt on Cody versus AJ Styles sometime in the next year it's a pretty money feud right there. So AJ's getting up there in age. If you're gonna do big stuff with him, you gotta start doing it now. He's already like 47 or something like that. So I think AJ should get the win here, build him up as a credible contender for the world title. So next match would be Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. I think it's obvious that Logan Paul should win this match. Somehow Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are going to cancel each other out, and I think Logan Paul is going to pick up the scraps and pick up a win here. I believe Logan Paul, has to look strong going into this summer's SummerSlam, which will be from Cleveland, his hometown. So a win here would increase his heel heat as a heel champion right now, and it just makes the most sense at this point for me. Plus, Randy Orton, I believe, will be somebody that will be eyed for a world title feud in the future, probably also with Cody. Same thing with Kevin Owens. I believe Kevin Owens probably should get back into the world title picture here at some point soon. So I don't see either one of them winning the U.S. title. I think this is more of a kind of a coming out party, I guess, for Logan Paul and his legitimacy as a good pro wrestler. Moving on. So you got Io Sky defending the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship against everybody's favorite, Bayley, who won the Royal Rumble this year. I'm almost of the opinion at this point, it's like Bayley deserves this moment. She's the hardest working woman on the roster for the last 10 years. We deserve a Bayley babyface run here, and this is going to be a nice moment for the fans with Bayley winning this match. So I think it's very obvious that Bayley is going to win this match. If she doesn't, I would be absolutely shocked, and I frankly would say it's a big mistake. And then going forward, I think, like I said, I'm envisioning some shuffling with the roster, and Becky maybe coming over to SmackDown, and of course you got Jade and her ascension, and whatever else they decide to do. But maybe that's, like I said, maybe Bayley holds it for quite a while, and I don't know, loses it to a heel, and then that heel maybe loses it to Jade Cargill, or Jade Cargill turns heel maybe in a year, and then at WrestleMania you got Bayley and Jade Cargill at Mania next year. Like I said, long-term booking, you book backwards. You have your main event in mind or your top matches in mind, and then you work backwards from there. That's what all the best bookers have done throughout the years. You have the money matches in mind, and you fill in the blanks in between those big matches that you have planned for the year. So So the next match, obviously the last match, which would be Roman Reigns defending the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship against Cody Rhodes, the two-time Royal Rumble winner, back to back. So obviously this is Cody's second try at winning this match, or winning this big event, and finishing the story and winning the WWE title like his father never did. It makes all the sense in the world for Cody to finally get this done. If it is, in fact, Bloodline rules, this match is going to be chaos. There's going to be interference from the Bloodline side. There's going to be also, interference from Cody Rhodes' side, whether it's Jey Uso or Seth Rollins, or, there's rumors of Stone Cold and John Cena. And there's a lot of moving parts in this one. I just believe, and there's a way, in my opinion, Cody Rhodes will win the world title, but like I said, with all the shenanigans and the craziness, I think to a certain degree, Roman will be protected even in a loss. But even if I just want to warn, WWE about, if you, for some reason, think that it's a good idea, I can't think that this is the case, because this would just be insane. But if you actually think it's a good idea for Roman to win this match, or even worse, have a convincing victory and win this match, continuing his long reign, I think at that point you are risking losing a lot of the people that have jumped on the bandwagon in the last year or two, whether it's because the product has improved, the booking has improved, Vince is gone, or even the case of myself and a lot of other fans who are just fans of pro wrestling, and I'm simply following along more, or I'm more invested because, frankly, I loved AEW. I love AEW, and Cody going over there, I have an emotional connection to Cody Rhodes because of his journey on the independents when he left WWE and created AEW. So for a lot of true blue wrestling fans, or the smart marks, as you would call them, I think the Cody thing is one of the allures of getting back into WWE. Like I said, it's better now, but the Cody thing was the thing that made me want to tune back in, because I wanted to see if he could, finish his story. So if you go 2 years and you screw the fans over again, I just think you're going to lose a lot of people when that happens. I just think a lot of people are going to just end up tuning out. They're going to do what a lot of us fans in the old days did, when we had our favorites, and a lot of times our favorites lost. Very rarely would our favorites win, but they did a lot of that. It was Vince did a lot of spiteful booking, as I like to call it. Like, you're gonna take this and you're gonna deal with it and you're gonna like it. That kind of booking, which surprise booking is good because you want to keep people on their toes, but eventually the good guys got to win. The only thing that really worries me, honestly, is I keep thinking back to Dusty Rhodes in the 80s and his feud that he had with Nature Boy Ric Flair, where in 2 Starrcades in a row, 84 and 85, Dusty didn't win the belt 2 years in a row at their biggest event, which was basically the precursor to WrestleMania. Starrcade, the biggest event in the NWA every year around Thanksgiving. 2 years in a row, Dusty did not win the title. And what ended up happening was the following August at the Great American Bash, you know, Ric Flair was defending the title night after night against different people, and he ended up losing to Dusty Rhodes in a steel cage at the Great American Bash. And Dusty, you know, finally won the title, and you know, that was kind of like finishing the story in the NWA. I just really, I really hope that they don't have that thought in mind. Where like, oh yeah, let's screw Cody again, and then we'll actually put the belt on him at SummerSlam or something like that. I would warn against that, because honestly, you're going to piss a lot of people off if you don't put the belt on him here. And I don't know if you're going to have a lot of those fans just might tune out before Cody actually wins the belt in the summer or whatever. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do here with the whole Roman passing different people for longest reign and Hogan's within distance and that kind of thing. It's like, it's modern day for a guy to hold the belt for 1,300 days, 1,400 days, or whatever that he's held it. It's insane for the modern product. You know, guys holding the belt that long back in the day wasn't as crazy, because you know, you didn't have social media. That, you know, the world didn't move as fast then, so that made more sense. It does not make sense to me to do it here. I don't think you can disappoint people 2 years in a row, even if he's royally screwed out of the belt, and you know, he has the belt, or they interference, like I said, royally screwed, and he's protected even in a finish if he loses. I still think you're gonna put a damper on people's enthusiasm for the product if you do that. I think a lot of people are just gonna go, oh yeah, it's the same thing as when Vince was around, you know, a spiteful booking. Like, thanks a lot. Like I said, say what you will about Tony Khan. He does a little bit of fan service, though, for people. He understands a little bit of the fan service thing. And I'm not saying that you should book your product completely as fan service, but there needs to be a little bit of fan service in there as well. A lot more than Vince usually gave people. I believe in long-term storytelling and booking, and you know, booking the product. You know, not let the fans book the product. I understand that, but you know, you might be going just a step too far by keeping the belt off him again. I just think it would be too much. So, anyways, I could see him doing it, but I would strongly warn against it. So, like I said, Paul, Triple H, man, I would strongly, you know, advise against that. I don't know if you can maintain the level of success that you have right now if you screw him over again. So, with that in mind, I think Cody is winning the belt. We might see Brandy Rhodes. We might see Dustin Rhodes. I don't even know. Like, there's definitely some stuff up in the air here in this whole situation. But Cody deserves a run with this belt. He was the MVP last year. Him and Seth Rollins were the MVPs last year. The guys were there day in, day out, selling the tickets, doing the promos, doing the live events, doing the live shows, live television. You know, these guys deserve their flowers, especially Cody. He deserves to finish the story and be the franchise, or at least get the opportunity to be the franchise. Now, how long will the fans love Cody as babyface world champion? Not really sure. I mean, there could be a backlash at some point on that. But even so, they're already planting seeds for maybe a heel run for Cody in the future. That promo he had with Paul Heyman a few weeks back, he said something along the effects of, you know, watch out, I might go full Homelander on you and just rip your throat out. That piqued my interest, because, you know, online a lot of people have been talking about, yeah, they should turn Cody heel and have him do like a Homelander type gimmick where he's like a psychopath, you know, out of control patriot, you know, heel character who thinks he's good, but is on all actuality is actually bad. You know, he's a villain. He's a heel. So that's like a natural pivot, and they've already planted the seeds for that. So if the crowd does turn against Cody in the future, it's very easy to just pivot into full heel Homelander mode, Homelander Cody mode, if they need to do that. So they always have that in their back pocket. They should be very mindful of the crowd temperature going forward if they do put the belt on him, and how long they can keep the crowd into him. Maybe he has no problem. Maybe he's John Cena level, and but like I said, even the John Cena thing, they never, you know, once people got sick of Cena, they wanted to, you know, Cena wanted to turn heel, the crowd wanted him to turn heel, but WWE wouldn't let him. So I just hope they don't have that problem with Cody where, you know, when they need to turn him heel, they got a great story there that they can tie him to, like I said, with that whole Homelander type style gimmick that they could do. Hell, maybe who knows? Maybe they had Paul Heyman as his advocate, you know, in the Homelander era. I mean, that would be quite interesting. Cody with Paul as his backup as in the Homelander gimmick. So a lot of possibilities, but either way, it's going to be should be one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Frankly, I mean, it is 40, so it's loaded, man. You know, as far as matches and angles and pomp and circumstance. So should be a fun weekend, guys. I'm going to come back over the weekend, possibly maybe talk about. Maybe do a review of the show, and like I said, I'm trying to do an AEW State of the Union video sometime here in the near future. So I bid you adieu, guys, and I hope you enjoy all the wrestling this weekend. I sure as hell know that I will be enjoying WrestleMania weekend, guys. And as Ian Riccaboni would say, happy wrestling, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Ciao.